Dalmia, Managing Editor of ET Now. You have just commenced your journey in higher education and having trusted HSNC University as worthy of helping you to become champions in life. So a very good morning to each one of you, to your friends, to your parents who are watching this program. And today we are in 10th day of induction program under this new university. So a warm welcome to Nikunj Dalmia, a warm welcome to the Principal HR College, Principal Bombay Teachers Training College. A warm welcome to all the dear students of HSNC University. So as I said, today we have with us Mr. Nikunj Dalmia. He's a champion, a go-getter, and an inspiration to all. He has been a leader in one of the most challenging and prominent sectors of the media. Nikunj Dalmia leads ET Now and is one of the India's most celebrated business news anchors. We will hear from him what he has to say about his job, his field. But let me tell you, he's not a motivational guru, but he has many success stories on his lips to tell us and take us, all of us through and inspiring all of us in this journey of his life. Over the years, whatever I've interacted with Mr. Nikunj, and I've seen him on the screen, he has developed the perspective of a leader who has been successful and have learned from all the challenges which he has faced and seen or witnessed other people going through it. He knows, and after yesterday's discussion, I would add something. He knows the exact quantity and quality of ingredients required to make a winner. Not only does he have a great insight about economy and finance, he has interacted closely with brilliant business leaders of our country. All the anchors, I think, of all the channels, he would have met them. He knows precisely all the attributes which one needs to achieve brilliance in any field. So a warm welcome to you, Nikunj. Thank you so much. And I know it takes a lot of efforts to be able to take any enterprise to such great heights is indeed commendable. And we thought who else could guide them in the area which you have expertise. So we requested you to join us. Thank you so much for accepting our invite. So on behalf of HSNC University, I extend a warmest welcome to you to this 10th day of induction program of our students. And I know that one more thing I would like to add, that you are used to audience of millions of people, but today you are addressing a few thousands of students. But let me tell you, these few thousands of students who are watching you with their parents and their friends, they will be the future millions who will soon be joining you in your newsroom. So over to you, Mr. Nikunj. But before that, I would request Ms. Tanzila Khan, who has joined us, to introduce you formally to our students and take this proceedings of the day forward. Thank you.
A very good morning to all the wonderful audience present here. I hope you all are having a good time enjoying this induction program and getting to learn from one of the best speakers every day. Mr. Nikunj Dalmia, a very popular name within the economics and finance industry, is the managing director and the editor of ET Now. He has formerly headed the NDTV Profit Research Time and was also a lead market anchor for the prime time show before taking up this responsibility. Mr. Nikunj Dalmia, we are very thankful to you for accepting our invitation and being here with us students. Over to you, Mr. Nikunj Dalmia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bhagwan Khan, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's not a pleasure, but if I may say so, it's a rare pleasure to be here. It's just one of the moments where you just want to bring what you've learned over the years by meeting and interacting with everybody. I have an advantage of meeting perhaps some of the most successful people. So today what I will do is that I'll share what I've learned and what I've understood by doing 20 years of television. Now, unlike a lot of people, I ask questions for a living. To put it very simply, मैं पेट के लिए सवाल पूछता हूँ. Yeah, think about it. As a television anchor, I ask questions. Now, the answer to my questions sometimes are opinions, sometimes they are stories, Sometimes they are opinions, and sometimes they are just a yes and no. But sometimes I get to hear fascination and inspirational stories of people who have become from unknown to unforgettable, from people have become from ordinary to extraordinary, from people who have really managed to change the world with very few things. So, what is the golden thread? What is the golden thread which connects successful and some of the achievers? And I'll just speak about four golden threads here. And I definitely see a commonality. So the question you go to ask yourself is that by starting point, is it IQ? Is it EQ? Is it good looks? Or is it pure luck? And trust me, the answer to that is none of the 4 points I mentioned. What really connects every achiever or go-getter, number one, is attitude and grit. So what is grit? Grit is nothing else but a deep and a very deep purpose of doing what you believe in. Grit is nothing else but it's the stamina to get up, run behind your dream. You must have heard from some other speakers also. But the difference between an achiever and a non-achiever is that not only the achievers, they believe in grit, not only they believe in their dreams, they do not get tired from failures. And I'll give you some examples here. And one of the most classic example, and since in my television journey, we've interacted with a lot of people, is when I had the extraordinary pleasure of meeting two people you'll connect with, J.K. Rowling and Jeffrey Archer. The common thing between both of them, and they both are successful writers and authors in their own genre. We may argue whether you like Harry Potters or not. I do like, so I had the extraordinary pleasure of meeting her. Is that for Jeffrey Archer and for J.K. Rowling, their work or their first book was rejected by 13 publishers. 13 publishers said, nah, J.K. Rowling, your Harry Potter character is not going to sell. Jeffrey Archer, sorry, Mr. Archer, the fiction what you're writing is old school now. That's for the Victorian era. That's not for the modern era. But they believed in what they did. They believed in the kind of assessment they had about the need of the society and what they wanted to do. The attitude was nothing short of very, very constructive. So it's very important to have the grit, the stamina, the belief, and keep on going after it again and again. Life, all of you, when you will step into it, will not be easy. There would be peaks and turfs, there would be twists and turns, there would be ups and downs. Someday life would be ugly, someday life would be terrible, someday life will throw a brick at you. But that's the time you need to understand, stay calm, do not lose your grit or the vision what you have. Fight it out, inch by inch, yard by yard, and trust me, you will be rewarded. So this, I think, is the most important thing, which is belief and grit, which will define you from being extraordinary to ordinary. Second, a common thread which I see is that the new India has emerged. And I would request you to visualize a picture, maybe that picture is part of a presentation, which is that when India had won World Cup for the first time, which is 1983, a magical moment. I was perhaps your age when Kapil Dev lifted the World Cup. The common theme between when Kapil Dev lifted the World Cup and MS Dhoni was that, boy, it made all of us proud. You know, that time less than 100 crore Indians cheered. This time more than 100 crores Indians cheered. So the similarity is that India lifted World Cup twice, but the difference is that in 1983 World Cup, 9 squad members, 9, 5 plus 4, 6 plus 3, 9. 9 squad members were from just two cities, Mumbai and Delhi. When Dhoni lifted the World Cup, 9 squad members were from small towns, towns which we sometimes struggle to find on map of India. If you look at the new India today, The new India today is now blessed by people who are humming and coming from small towns. Small towns today has really become the fountainhead, I mean it, fountainhead of the new India. A classic example I give here, somebody who's a very personal friend of mine, Madhusudan Kela. In financial markets, the area which ET now is associated with, stocks and economy, it's a place which is not full of saints. It's a place which is full of sharks. How did he become so successful? For somebody who had very mediocre education, was it IQ? Was it luck? Well, it was his belief that even though he's from small town, he can swim with the sharks. Ramdev Agrawal, another marquee investor, owner of Motilal Oswal Securities, comes from a very small town near Raipur, son of a father. India's biggest heart surgeon, Devi Shetty of Narayana Hyderabad. He also comes from the same place, which is a small town. And India's biggest CEO, or chairman of Tata Sons, N. Chandra, humble beginnings, humble education, but today he is the chairman of India's largest corporate house. So that is the new India. And the new India is the India where belief, grit, stamina, character, attitude are the things which will make all the difference. The reason why I'm enumerating this example is because I've had the extraordinary pleasure of learning, knowing, interacting, and seeing them blossom. And this is perhaps the most important takeaway I want you to remember, that never compromise on what you believe in. Always have the grit. And trust me, for those who say that they've not tried anything and they've not failed, that means they are living a life which is, they are living on ideas which have been given to them by someone. The essence of life is to fail, to learn, unlearn. What we can control in our life, perhaps, is the process, not the outcome. What we can control in our life, perhaps, is learning from failures rather than get disappointed from the failures. That's the new India which I wanted to bring about. I just wanted to tell you guys that now geographical imbalances have been broken. That as we speak, as we morph from this pandemic crisis into this decade, a lot of us will be surprised to see that how the next generation of rich and famous would be coming from pockets which are unknown of. If one refers to the Forbes list, the list which is released every year by Forbes magazine, the Forbes list of billionaire, I was referring to that list a couple of months ago. In 1990, 87%, like 77% of the Forbes list members were actually inheritors, which is they had inherited from their father, from their uncles. But right now it's pretty much the reverse. More than 66% of the total Forbes list members are first-time entrepreneurs, businessmen, or have had very humble beginnings. So let humble beginnings, small town, irrespective of how much money you have, irrespective of your physical presence, irrespective of which part of the world you belong to, let that not be a deterrent. A thing which I always encounter when I meet, interact with people of your age, trust me, I'm not very old, but is they have self-pity. And I want to assure you that's the worst thing you will do in your life, is to have self-pity. Because self-pity is just going to pull you back. But what will bring you forward and what will make, and what is the real recipe to the success is your whole attitude and positivity. Now, I'm going to talk about how some of the successful people have really managed to come at a time when they've managed to change or use adversity to their advantage. And a little bit about what ET Now does. ET Now today is one of the most influential business channels in India. It's a business channel where people watch, they make a view on stocks. What we report, markets understands the relevance of that. The relevance of that gets acted and reacted, which means it's a newsroom which is able to impact not only stock prices, not only business tycoons, but it is a business which is moving wealth and billions of dollars of wealth in a real-time basis. Now, if I tell you that ET Now newsroom essentially is like an assembly line. And for those who understand assembly line here, just imagine a car which is getting produced. When a car is produced on an assembly line, there are processes. एक आदमी टायर लगा रहा है, एक आदमी दरवाजा लगा रहा है, एक आदमी खिड़की लगा रहा है, एक आदमी बोनेट का नीचे का नट क्रैक कर रहा है. That is what the assembly line is. It's a process. And that is what a news channel is. We follow a process where if I'm the anchor, I have a camera person in the studio. For that camera person, there is a director who's talking to that person. When the director is talking, the director is getting, the feed is getting beamed by the master control room. The master control room is now relaying it to the satellite. The satellite manager is ensuring that it comes back to the cable operator. The cable operator is ensuring it goes back to your house. So it's an entire assembly line process where you have to really put all pieces together for the orchestra to work. It's like an orchestra. Anybody who just goes slightly off tune, the entire orchestra is going to go for a problem. But fire happened. Work at home happened. What are we supposed to do? We have two options. One, accept defeat and understand and submit to the fact that we will not be able to come back from the COVID crisis, or innovate, or understand the importance of innovation. As we speak, the place where I'm sitting from, I'm just going to move so that you can see. This is my house. This is my dining chair. I've been sitting from this dining chair, doing my morning shows, and working alongside with my team from last 7 months. From a 9 studio setup, if I may be able to turn it around, I'm working with a 1 camera setup. Now, why has that worked? The reason why that has worked is something which I learned from, again, some of the most successful people I've interacted with, is belief. They convert adversity into an opportunity. And the importance of belief comes on your ability to deal with people. Very important. As you will grow, we may be getting more automated in our life, but when we're getting more automated in our life, our boring and dangerous jobs are taken over by machine. Trust me, our human dependence and our ability to handle people and information is getting more and more complex. When I say that, what I'm trying to indicate here is that for me, now just imagine how my network is working. I'm sitting in Mahalakshmi. My co-anchor is sitting in Gurgaon. My graphic head is delivering graphics from Punjab. My data producer is sitting somewhere in Chennai. I've got a camera person who's sitting in Dhanbad, and I'm getting instructions from a director who's sitting in Kamla Mills. How is this possible? How come we are able to run a spider web? A spider web where, by the way, we are live all the time, which means the margin of error for us is almost zero. So if I sneeze on air, well, others will catch flu. It's actually like that. So how are we able to do something which is nothing short of magical? If fiction stories were written, trust me, J.K. Rowling or even anybody who's a fiction writer will not be able to imagine that something realistically could imagine. It's like telling my grandfather that, one day the world will see a smartphone. So how did we do that? The reason why we were able to do that is because we believed in converting opportunity, this crisis, into an opportunity. And second is our belief in teamwork. The biggest learning for me and for everybody I've interacted with in this pandemic crisis is that it has only increased the importance of self-reliance. And that is something which I want you to just take away as perhaps the most important thing, that what will differentiate you in your life as you go forward is that how well are you able to work with people? How well are you able to work with your team? In today's time when technology is taking over everything, collaborative teamwork, I think, is going to be the essence of what will make a differentiation. I have blind faith in my team. I have blind trust in the kind of culture we follow, and a blind trust in the process I follow. In the morning, when I was doing the morning show before I logged into this call, I get to hear from my director, and trust me, I can show it with you. This is an iPhone which we use, a simple iPhone, which connects me from my studio. I'm just going to take the liberty of perhaps showing you the camera. This is the camera if some of you can see. This is my house. So the reason why we are able to do this is because of this whole belief in our system, our whole ability to come together as a group, our whole ability to collaboratively work together, and our whole ability to convert this into a crisis. Your ability to work with your colleagues, with your friends, with your superiors, I think is going to be the most important factor which will tell you, which will really be that thin line between success and failure, between achievement and between non-achievement. Remember that ability to deal with people, how well you treat people, how good you are with people. When you walk into a room sometimes, don't you get a sense that अरे यार उस बंदे से मिलके बहुत मजा आया? People will remember you for this. People will remember for the kind of impact you're doing, and people will remember you for the kind of things you're learning from them. The other interesting thing which I would like to share with you is character. All of us, and since you're stepping into a very important role of your life from school to college, there are two things which will be defining you. And one is character, and second is integrity and reliability. Warren Buffett once said something very famous, which is that when he hires, he looks at three things. The person whom he's hiring should have these three qualities: integrity, intelligence, and innovation. He said, if you have innovation and if you have intelligence, but if you don't like integrity, trust me, those two are not required. Integrity is like reputation. I learned this from my father. I did not learn this in ET now. And my father tells me he learned it from his father. And my grandfather never told me how he learned it. And this is something I'm sure teachers will pay a lot of importance on, is something very simple. If money is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if character and integrity is lost, everything is lost. So my dear friends, I'm speaking to a young audience here, but this is the golden piece of advice I think I've been told again and again from my friends, from my well-wishers, from people who essentially are there. And I'm going to tell you the importance of integrity. The importance of integrity and reliability comes from my whole experience of being in a media newsroom. Why is that when a news comes on ET now, millions of dollars of market cap changes? There are stories when the market cap of stocks, they go down from 5,000 crore to 10,000 crores. When you need a newspaper from the Times group, whether it's a news is good or bad, you are able to reliably take a decision, whether it's a financial decision, whether it's an opinion, whether it's a news decision, is because of our integrity. Integrity is something which can be applied in personal life. Integrity is something which needs to be applied in professional life. Integrity is something which needs to be applied even in the processes you do. Reliability and integrity are two solid pillars where you know that how brands, how companies, and how other things are built to last. A classic example here is Tata's. The brand Tata itself stands for nothing else but integrity. It's a brand where you know that when you're consuming their products versus some else's product, it's a stamp of Tata which really makes a difference. Globally, when you're buying an Apple product, you're getting a promise. You're getting a promise of quality, you're getting a promise of assurity, and you're getting a promise of reliability. So integrity and reliability are the two most important things. Vallabh Bansali once told me the following. Vallabh Bansali is the owner of Inam. He's one of the most finest spiritual person and financial investor I've met him. And he said, Nikunj, I'm a Jain, and I followed one simple mantra. Pran jaye, par vachan na jaye. Pran jaye, par vachan na jaye. The point I'm trying to say here is, the importance of integrity is something you need to inculcate, and you need to inculcate on a daily basis. Life, and all of us have studied, and by the time I was 12th, I knew meaning of compounding interest, and I'm sure you knew that. So he said something that compounding interest is something which works not only in finance or money, but it also works in real life, which is that each day, if we get up with the promise that we'll be better, we'll be focusing on our good qualities, we will be compounding our good things, and we will be compounding our knowledge. Trust me, there would be a change of about 30 to 35% every year. So that is how you should approach all the basic things in your life. Get up in the morning with the whole purpose of learning. Get up in the morning to chase your dream. Get up in the morning to make sure that what you've learned previous day, you will walk that extra yard. If you've lost something in your life, promise yourself that you will fight it out inch by inch, slug by slug to get it back. So that I think is the most important thing in terms of a character, because the character is something, whether it's a company, whether it's an individual, whether it's you, whether it's me. I think integrity and character are two things which are permanent in nature. They always say that the first impression is the last impression. So bear in mind, when you would be meeting out, when you would be stepping out, people will always start making impressions. And those are the impressions which would be based on your character and on your reliability. Like I said, how am I able to run a newsroom? Imagine sitting in my dining table, running India's biggest business channel. Is it possible? It is only possible because I have reliability on my team and dependability on my team. And dependability and reliability will only come if you have a character which is full of integrity. Everything in life really gets connected if you look at the big picture. The most other thing I would like to share with you is the importance of curiosity. Now let's look at some examples here. Alibaba, wow, one of the biggest websites in the world. Some of you must have shopped on it. Some of you must have, you know about it. Some of you must have consumed about it. But right now, beware, it's a Chinese company. I'll stop there. But the point I'm trying to make here is Alibaba was started by a gentleman called Jack Ma. Jack Ma was an English school teacher. He used to teach English in a Chinese university. And he ended up creating the biggest and the most successful company, the most successful Chinese company. India's biggest investor, Radhakishan Damani, the owner of DMart, he's one of the richest Indians. He has got very humble beginnings, no formal education, no specialized education in finance or retail, but he's been able to compete and create a behemoth called DMart by just curiosity. Curiosity is something which is extremely important. I had the pleasure of speaking to Amir Khan one day, and he said the following. And he said, and this is a couple of years ago, and he said, even though he's an actor, he was reading quantum physics. And I said, why? Why does an actor really need to understand quantum physics? He said, because that gives me a different perspective in life, a perspective which I would need, a perspective which helps me understand the various, how birds fly, how water comes, how the world changes. Let's not be oblivious. If you have to live at the world, don't live at the world through the eye of your iPhones. Look at the world through open eyes. And open eyes will make you curious. The minute you will get curious, your learning is going to be an ongoing process. As we speak today, just a coincidence, we had Rakesh Junjunwala on ET now, just about half an hour ago. And I asked him that you're a billionaire investor. What makes you going even at 60? He said it's the curiosity to understand the world and the knowledge to know about things. I said, Rakesh Junjunwala has the curiosity. He said, yeah, that's what life is. Life is about learning, and life is about understanding, and more importantly, life is also about implementing. While we have teachers here, I can share out of my experience. You guys are blessed to have such lovely teachers. I come from a very small town, where perhaps I had no formal education. I'm a BCom I come from a small town called Kishangarh, which happens to be like a dot map in Rajasthan. And it was my extraordinary curiosity to understand stock markets, which perhaps has really, in a sense, been one of the reasons why I'm here. When I come to work every morning, my first whole objective is how can I influence or how can I make everyone's life better? How can I reach investors, reach them their financial goals? How can I help employees understand productivity? How can I bring out essentially how the shape of the economy is moving? So that's the whole purpose which drives me to work. But more than that, more than my salary, more than the compensation, more than what my employees paid me, more than the fact that you get popular and you get recognized on street when you're a television anchor. I think it's my hunger to learn, my hunger to understand stock markets, my hunger to understand that why stock prices go up and down, how the world around us is changing. Because friends, the world around us will change. The world around us is dynamic. The world around us is going to change in such a rapid manner that we will not be able to figure out. I mean, if you really look around and see, once upon a time, the city where we are in, which is Mumbai, the city was a city which had mills. Those mills have become malls. And I don't know how many of the malls will actually survive because all of us are going to e-commerce. So that's the evolution you need to understand. Evolution is part of something which will always happen. And in order to adapt to the new normal, and in order to understand that what's coming next, you need to be curious. You need to understand the whole importance of not just reading and writing. You need to understand history. You need to understand physics. Make it a rule that every day you will learn something new. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 25 minutes. These are the factors which will start accumulating. And just imagine like a bank where you are right now investing and you don't know when you will be able to cash in. That's what I do. I always try to accumulate knowledge. I always try to read 3 or 4 things which are perhaps not connected to me. Right now, I'm perhaps reading a book on quantum physics. I'm just trying to understand the theory of relativity, something which is very complex, but I'm just trying to understand because that's how things move. In life, it is important to understand that history may not repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. The same thing in financial markets keeps on happening again and again. In 1980s, people were fascinated. You were not born. I mean, 1980s, I was born, but I didn't know this happened till the time I learned history, which is the importance of understanding how life around us will change. In 1980s, there was a cement boom. In 1990s, there was a boom in media companies. A couple of years ago, there was a huge boom which is now happening in the Amazons and the Googles of the world. So in order to understand that what is coming next and where you should be investing and studying, you need to be curious, because curiosity is something which will really make a lot of difference in your decision making. Because when you will be making decision, it's important to understand not just specialization, it is important to understand the implications of that. Because things are connected. Things are connected, and today, thanks to internet, thanks to technology, things are connected in such a futuristic manner that you will be surprised. To give you an example of when I speak to some of the corporates, and especially American corporates in India, and especially when we also look at hiring at ET now, we are not just looking at unidimensional skills, which is that if you are an engineer, well, you need to also understand not management, but you also need to understand philosophy. Now, what would an engineer do understanding philosophy? Philosophy is something else and engineering is facts. But those are the dimensions which I guess everybody is looking at. The most sought after jobs in Apple, Google, the most sought after disciplines right now are a combination of left brain and right brain, which is that if you have a combination of liberal arts as well as other aspects, those are the most sought after jobs, because that's the way the world is. World is becoming flat. World is becoming unidimensional, and it is important to learn. So don't just restrict yourself to your daily courses. While it is I'm sure your teachers are there and teachers will make sure, it is important for you to be curious, understand the world, explore the facts, keep on asking yourself questions. Even if they are difficult questions, don't worry, you will find the answers. So that's what I want to say, that out of the 22 years of television anchoring, the common thread, what I see in people, and if I have to summarize them, because my teachers always taught me that when you're speaking to students, summarize. So I'll take the liberty of summarizing. So in summary, it is the character, it is the grit and the attitude. Most simple. Grit is nothing else but your attitude of keep on going on and on. Grit is nothing else but it is whole attitude of not accepting failure. Grit is nothing else where you accept that failure is not a permanent condition. Grit is nothing else, and attitude is nothing else which will give you the ability to bounce back every time life hits a brick on your head. Grit is nothing else but your whole desire to fight inch by inch, yard by yard. Because in life, if you have failed, if you have not failed, trust me, you've not tried anything new. Second, character and integrity. These are things which would be permanent. Right now, you are in a process of building blocks, and character and integrity are two things which will stay with you permanently. These are two things which will differentiate you from ordinary and extraordinary, because reliability and integrity are things which will really make you, it'll make you a good human being. All successful people, like they say in stock markets, to be a good investor, you need to be a good human being. And to be a good human being, you need to be a successful investor. Anybody who's a successful investor, I think, is a great human being first. Warren Buffett, even though he's a true capitalist, has given 99% of his wealth away. Bill Gates, we know the kind of work he's doing in terms of his foundation. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has decided to give 20% of his wealth away. So please remember the importance of being a good human. And for me, in my definition of what I've learned from these extraordinary people is it is character, it is reliability, and it is honesty. And then teamwork. In today's time, we may be communicating everything on WhatsApp and WhatsApp groups, but it is teamwork, and collaboration, ability to work with people who matter is going to be, again, a very important differentiating factor, because we are moving towards a complex world, but a very collaborative work where the importance of teamwork cannot be emphasized. Every time if you want to ask yourself, ask yourself one simple thing. An assembly line television studio is being run from home only because of teamwork. Imagine a spider web, and I'm on the center of the spider web, and everything comes, and we are able to do it. If my producer tells me today to say fire, I will say fire, because I have that much collaboration, teamwork, and faith in my team. And then curiosity and hunger for knowledge. Don't let it die. Don't let it die. Because world is changing, world will evolve, world will reboot, and it is your curiosity, ability to adapt, and ability to understand complex things into simple terms, I think, will make all the difference. So I wish you all the best. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bagra. Thank you for other principals for inviting me. It's such a rare pleasure. It's just, I've been able to connect what I've learned from some extraordinary people. And trust me, there is a common thread which will make you from unknown to unforgettable. I have a sincere belief that all of you here today, as you step into a different life, will be able to take the right decisions. And one day, I'm sure I will get a chance of either interacting with you in my newsroom, or why not? If young achievers Mark Zuckerberg can become billionaires in 21, and what the achievers are achieving in less 31, maybe I'll get a pleasure of interviewing you, one of you, on my show.
I think that was fantastic, Mr. Nikunj. I think it was absolute delight to listen to you and hear from you. I take back my words. I said Mr. Nikunj Dalmia is not a motivational speaker, but he shared with you your stories. I think I have not heard you before, except the market and the business and economics from you. I believe you are a wonderful teacher too. So HSNC University will always be happy to have you, Amit Sir, to teach our media students and even, I think, economics, I think on the market, financial market students. I think you do not know this probably, or maybe you know it and you have not told us that. But it makes today's lecture, today's talk makes you, I think, one of the, I think, best motivational speaker I ever heard. All the ingredients which you have connected in a simple thread, all the qualities, all the attributes. And I think that makes one chapter in their life as graduate attributes they would need to go forward in their lives. And it was not a learning experience for them, but even for all the teachers who are listening to you, all the administrators who are listening to you. I think these golden words which you said today and your experiences, we are going to make and surely make a note of it, and we'll make it a part of our magazines, or maybe university magazine, so that over the years, students should get a chance to read this. And you will surely get this page on the website too very soon. So thank you so much. But this was my personal note. There will be informal vote of thanks after I request my students, Saksham Agrawal from Department of Media. We also have Manjula Srinivas. She's heading the Department of Media. I would ask her to connect to you so that we can get more gems of wisdom from you. But as of for now, I know you have other commitments. Quickly, we will take ahead our questions. Saksham, are you ready with the questions? From YouTube, students who have must be raining questions, and they will transfer to the Zoom chat box so that Mr. Dalmia should be able to answer them. Yeah.
Surely. Thank you,
You have time, right? Nikunj, you have time?
Yeah, I think I'm till 12, it's good, ma'am.
Fine, fantastic. That's wonderful.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful speech. We have some questions. I'll take some of them forward. The first question is,
See, I'll tell you something. you have to prepare, and preparation only comes with domain knowledge and hard work. So if you, so I can give you an example of the interview which we did yesterday, which is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Now, I've known Rakesh Jhunjhunwala personally over the years now, but when I typically prepare for an interview, I would refer to at least half an hour to 1 hour of preparation, considering what his views are, what his views on the world are, what is currently the topics which would interest him, what is the topic. See, let me put it this way. For me, when I interview a person, the most important thing is that I need to get perspective for my viewers. Very important. My job is to get the best out of a speaker so that my viewers can get indication, information, analysis, and perspective. So that's what I always focus on. Typically, when you have to interview a person, it would involve reading through the previous interviews. It would involve reading through his discussions or his opinions on the public forum. And then you have to take a deep dive to understand that, do you agree with that person's perspective or not? If somebody has a perspective, you need to understand that you need to be prepared to question and to counter question if you disagree with your perspective. When people come, in stock markets, when there is a buyer and a seller, I'm making it slightly complicated. The buyer is buying a stock because the buyer thinks the stock price will go higher. The seller, when he's selling, the seller thinks the stock prices will go lower. They both are right, but ultimately in time, one person will be right. So when you have somebody who comes on your show, you need to understand, what perspective can you get for your viewer, and you prepare yourself so that your ability to question and to counter question, I think, should be.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is, if not an anchor, what would Mr. Nikunj Dalmia be?
I've thought through it, but the point is that that's the only thing I know. The thing is, I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. Like I said, every morning, I want to be a lifelong learner. And the extraordinary advantage what you get with being associated with the television job and with the media job is that you get a passport to meet achievers, extraordinary achievers, hear their stories, get inspired, implement them. So I want to do something where where I'm able to learn, when I'm able to understand, where I'm able to, find answers to some very basic questions. And television anchoring and a media job is a path which is helping me reach what I really enjoy. So love what you do and do what you love. That's my mantra.
The next question is, what would be your advice to small investors about the mistakes they make in investing?
See, since we have a very young student audience here, I'll say something which may not be very exciting, which is that when you earn, first save and then spend. When you earn, first invest, first save and then invest, which is that rather than buying that iPhone or rather than investing in something new, if you just do a simple thing like investing in, all of you would be 18 or would be nearing 18. If you start a simple SIP or a ETF or something where you are able to take time, the advantage of time to your side, trust me, your pennies will turn into pounds and your rupees will turn into crores. I'll give you an example. We did a study on ET now a couple of months ago. I'll share that with Mrs. Bagla. And we had two fictional characters. पुरानी हिंदी मूवी में राम और श्याम होते थे, हमने थोड़ा एडवांस कर दिया, अजय और विजय बना दिया, because of modern technology. So Ajay used to be a spendthrift and he would change his mobile phone every 2 years, and Vijay would change his mobile phone every 3 years. तो विजय जो पैसा बचाता था वो SIP में डालता था, and over a period of 30 years, Vijay, by only doing one habit, starting a SIP or investing in mutual funds and not buying a phone every 3 years, he actually was richer by 75 lakh rupees. So I'm telling you something very basic, which is that right now, since age is on your side, I did not have a Nikunj Dalmia who pulled my ear and told me, boss, पहले save, पहले invest कर बाद में, पहले save कर बाद में खर्चा कर. So I'm sharing it with you. I did the mistake of started investing very late. Please don't do it. I started in my 30s. If you start in your 20s, trust me, you will be 10 years ahead of me.
I would like to invite Manjula Srinivas ma'am, Department of Mass Media, Head of Department Mass Media, KC College, for a question.
Good morning, Nikunj. Thank you so much for such a lovely talk. I personally had a very interesting question because we teach our students for the last so many years broadcast journalism to print journalism. And people like Mangalam Malu, Priya Sheth, and Pooja Meswani, I don't know if these names ring anything in your this thing, are our students from the department of KC College. And what I felt was a lot of them did not opt for business journalism. uh, a lot of them felt it is not the type of journalism which is very interesting to pursue your career in. So we keep telling them that you need to first do basic journalism, and then maybe you could specialize in these niche areas. So what are your views about it? How do you train a good business journalist, whether it is for television or print?
No, I think Mangalam is with CNBC, is a business journalist. Pooja Meswani was with ET now, so she eventually became a business journalist. So the point I'm trying to say here is that they may not like, but eventually they became business journalists. I guess, see, it's about following your passion. I know people who are blog writers and they're doing some extraordinary work. I know people who want to write only about health and fitness and they're doing what they're, what they want to desire. I guess the decision to you will only excel if you choose something where your interests are. And in today's time, there is, even on fitness today, people have become gurus and people have become experts. Today, something like travel, I mean, there are blogs and there are videos and there are YouTube channels which are doing rather well and which are having an impact. I guess the way I look at things is that you got to change, you got to ask yourself is that what your view, what interests you, and what kind of journalism you want to be in. In business journalism, the relevance and the impact is going to be far higher than when you end up becoming a travel journalist or when you end up becoming a journalist in something else. Because in business, you are able to learn, you're able to interact with a very different but a very niche audience. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in any other part of journalism, but first, if you have to make a choice and if you're confused that I don't know what my passion is, it's about understanding that what kind of impact you want to create on the society. I always tell people who want to be in business journalism that you will be able to adopt and apply in a much higher degree because of the learnings you have in any other form of journalism. So first, it's important to define what you like, man. That's what I would say.
Yeah, thank you so much. Over to Saksham.
Can we take a few more questions, sir?
Yes, please.
The first question is, you have worked for the last 21 years as a television anchor. Which are the couple of most inspiring stories you wish to share?
Every day I get to hear inspiring stories. And that's what the advantage of business journalism is. The extraordinary stories, what I've learned is, I'll give you an example, okay? A person whom I really look forward to. That is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Now, people look at him, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, as somebody who is a successful investor. But behind his success, what is something which makes him so successful? So I had an extraordinary pleasure of meeting Rakesh Jhunjhunwala in 2000 when I started my television career. His 10,000, his belief in India each time is something which has been quite extraordinary. His optimism that tomorrow will be better than today, his view on what the world would be, and is something which is very hard to comprehend. But what really differentiates Rakesh Jhunjhunwala from others, I think his sincerity and his commitment, and also his whole approach in life of being honest. See, in stock markets 25 years ago, 30 years ago, it was considered to be a bad place. I've been told by my father, being a Marwadi, that stock market mein jaoge to shaadi nahi hoti thi. I don't know if Mrs. Bagla had that same experience. Stock market was not considered to be a place where you would get a lot of respect from. Here comes a man with 10,000 rupees. He did everything to the T. He did everything as per the law. he kept 2 or 3 things, which is that he believed in himself. He believed that by doing right things, you may not get immediate wealth, but you will be able to create wealth on a longer term basis. And by simply reaching one step ahead of the time, he was able to understand what the markets would do next. And that ability came because of his understanding, not of financial numbers, not a balance sheet, not a calculator. Imagine a guy who's invested in one of the biggest technology companies in India is not even using a calculator. So I think for me, he's one of the most inspiring stories, not because of the wealth he has, but because of the path, because of the approach, because of the journey, because of the commitment, and because of the honesty and the sincerity with which he's been successful. You will meet a lot of people in your life who will who will count where success will be counted in the market cap or the wealth they have. No, money beyond the point is a score. It is the path to your success and road to your success, which I think will be the most differentiating factor.
The next question is, any funny incidents you have encountered as a professional news anchor during interviews?
Funny incidents are when people. So I had we've had a lot of funny incidents. Funny incidents, they may just start from when people are not able to hear you on the other side. The funny incidents happen right now when sometimes I've kept the Zoom recording on and I don't realize that the other person is able to hear me. It happened yesterday when my wife gave me a story idea that we should focus on NRIs who are going to Dubai right now. What is that a trend? I was talking to my news team. Being the editor, they all thought that it was my idea, and I forgot to put it off mute. My edit meeting got over. I called my wife. She was sitting next to me. We are working from home, and I said, "See, I got your story idea implemented," and which everybody in my newsroom heard that the editor got story idea and editor ki wife got story idea. So things always happen, but trust me, work at home is making life very different. Sometimes all those stories which you're hearing of me wearing shorts and wearing a jacket on the top and anchoring, trust me, it is true. Me wearing shorts and coming to do the morning show, trust me, it is true. So I think it's all happening right now when we are working from home.
So we have 2 more questions, if you would
Yep.
allow.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Mrs. Bali.
Simple question, Nikunj, when we met, you discussed about Rosenman reaction, if you remember, a couple of times, which you have not forgot. Now I heard from you quantum mechanics. So any plans to change even the feel and talk, get onto different subjects while you anchor from market to business to economy to even mechanics? So much you do. So what are your other hobbies? What kind of books you read? So much I want to know from these 2 things. On one hand, chemistry, on the other hand, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and what else?
I read about 3 to 4 books at a time, and I'm actually a voracious reader. So what I do is that let me see if I can share it with you. Give me a second. I'm at home, so I have a lot of things I can share. So this is my current stack of books which I have right now. So it includes a Gita, it includes an Upanishad, it includes a project by Saurabh Mukherjee. It includes a book which I am actually reading on Da Vinci Code because I want to learn Vinci. So what I do is, and I'm sharing this with you, I mean, since we're talking about it, is that I've got a book where I write it. So I don't know if you guys can see it. I mean, maybe it's not clear. So what I do is that I make columns. Every week I make a column, which is what are the things I want to watch, because content is now available online and lovely content is available online. Then I make a column on whom do I want to follow on Twitter. So people, they really write a lot on Twitter. See guys, please remember, and I'm just sharing this with all the students here, is because in our times, we had to struggle to find information. There was only one library, or library में जब book लेने जाते थे quantum physics की book में 3 महीने की waiting होती थी. We are in, you guys have the huge advantage that today information is on the doorstep, and it is on you that how much you want to assimilate. We guys had to struggle to find information. I mean, I remember when companies would come out with their profits, वो हमको शाम को पता लगते थे. Today companies, they come out with their profits 30 seconds, you will get to know in WhatsApp group. Then I always, so what I do is that I maintain a diary, which I divide into 4 or 5 parts, which is that what I want to see, what I want to learn, what I want to understand, and what I want to hear. And you keep on adding to that bank. I mean, life is like a bank. It's like a saving accounts where you put 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 5 drop. And one day you realize that that bank itself has become so big and that starts compounding for you. So I do that. I mean, it's a very long reply, but I read a variety of things because my job involves a variety of things. And that's how you're able to, understand. I mean, imagine if I would have not run quantum mechanics or chemistry. My understanding of chemistry, Mrs. Bagla, helped me understand that we will not get a therapeutic cure, we will get a vaccine cure for COVID. That in a sense made me conscious about the fact that COVID is not going to go. So my commentary, which was centered around COVID that time, actually was a proof which I got from chemistry, thanks to you and thanks to everybody. I understood the difference between the therapeutic medicine and the vaccine medicine. And this is something we were able to bring out for our viewers when all the false claims were done कि दादी माँ का काढ़ा पी लो, ये जड़ी बूटी ले लो, वो सब dismiss हो गया. आज से 3-4 महीने पहले बहुत वो आ रहे थे. So you don't know, I don't know what's coming next. But what I can do is that I can put the learnings of people together and then perhaps make a view so that I'm able to bring a perspective from a view.
Fantastic.
We'll take the last question for the day.
Quick last question, 11:58. And fine, right?
Yeah, I'll take the last question. Not a problem.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. What finance and business roles and jobs have gained scope during this pandemic?
Finance and jobs which are gaining role. Well, I genuinely feel that this pandemic is very temporary in nature. This pandemic it is not like war that you will see permanent scars. However, I do see a change which is clearly happening on work at home, which is that today you need to adapt. I think work at home is a reality. Now, some may say, we are working from home. Imagine a newsroom working from home. The way a newsroom works is that if you have ever seen a newsroom, there are no walls in between. There are no cabins in between because you all are supposed to work together because the newsroom is nothing else but osmosis of people coming together and doing creativity. We've changed. So today, if I'm working from home, the first thing I learned is that I need to understand how Zoom works. I didn't know how my Zoom works. My son taught me. I had to understand that how some of the basic softwares they do work. So I definitely feel that in terms of productivity, you need to get towards collaborative tools a lot. You need to get into more system-driven, data-driven things because ultimately everything is going to be data-driven. I may not be the right person to give you a sense on technology because unfortunately I'm still learning. Maybe next time when we talk, I'll be able to give you a better sense on that. But I don't see the relevance of finance changing. It is just that the way you would be doing things would actually change. Society will always create jobs, but jobs will be created differently. See, remember, that's why I say that you need to understand a lot of parts of life because there are a lot of jobs which were for earlier relevant are not relevant and a lot of jobs which will get created. One of the most famous example is a guy called Joe Rogan. He's a very famous podcaster and he earns about $10 to $15 million only by doing podcasting. I wish I could do it. I don't. But so imagine this job did not exist. There's a site called Bling, which essentially is a gaming site. Some of you would be aware of it, which you actually you do gaming and it helps you to make money. Some of these jobs actually, they did not exist. There's another friend of mine. He is working with Spotify and he's a podcast editor. उसका काम है कि वो दिन भर बस podcast की curated list बनाता है. ये job थी नहीं 5-10 साल पहले. So society will create a lot of jobs. In finance, I think people would be more dependent on data and software. But I don't think finance की jobs में ऐसा कोई बहुत बड़ा change आने वाला है. Excepting that the way you do, I think you will be doing from home.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Bagla. All the best.
Thank you. 1 minute. Last thing I will request, is Hiral there?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm there.
Yes.
My voice is audible?
Yes, very much. Dr. Hiral Shetz is our young economist teacher, and she would like to deliver a vote of thanks, formal vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Over to you, Dr. Hiral.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Hiral here from Department of Economics, Casey College, and it's my privilege to propose a formal vote of thanks today as we have come to an end of this wonderful session of the 10th day induction program. I would like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Nikunj Dalmia for sparing time and being with us today. So let me tell you, today's session was actually very inspiring, enriching, and motivating. Thank you, sir. It was indeed a treat listening to you with those key takeaways that you made: grit and attitude, teamwork, character and integrity, and the most important, to be a good human being. I express my gratitude to Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, Provost, HSNC University, and also thank our ever-supporting principal, Dr. Hemlata Bagla, for helping and encouraging these insightful induction programs. I thank all the vice principals, teachers, and students for their active participation and wonderful response to all these induction programs conducted till now. Please continue being with us with same vigor and enthusiasm. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friend words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gracious presence. Thank you so much. And lastly, thanks to all the viewers, all of our HR and Casey College students, teachers. Tomorrow we will come back. Yes, tomorrow is 2nd October. We know it very well, but this induction program will go on. And tomorrow also marks the 150th year of celebration of Mahatma Gandhi ji. And tomorrow is the culmination day. So we must meet, we must be together and celebrate together. And we will bring to you your very own, our very own Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, and he wants to interact with all the students of HR and KC and BTTC on this day. So be there tomorrow sharp 11 o'clock. Yes, you can watch throughout the day, but get up early and see that you are glued to the screen before 11 o'clock. So Saksham, be there. All the entire team has to be there. And I request our tech team to remember it's not a holiday. And tomorrow there will be 11th induction program by none other than the Honorable Provost of HSNC University, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Thank you, everyone, for a wonderful program. And remain connected and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.